What's up YouTube? Today I'll continue with my series Investing in Greatness. Today's the number 32, you can check the other ones on my YouTube channel. There is actually a playlist for all of them. Today's player is Franz Beckenbauer, Kaiser, one of the best players ever. So I hope this is a video you enjoy, and if that's the case, please do not forget to leave a like, means a lot to me and is the best way to show support. If you are a new viewer, also consider to subscribe because that helps the channel tremendous. Putting that out of the way, let's go into the video and I hope you have fun. So guys, let's start with this, Investing in Greatness 32, Franz Beckenbauer, one of the best players ever. Short disclaimer before I go into the video, no financial advice, always do your own research. And English, as you can see at this point, is not my main language, so any types of mispronunciations, I'm sorry for that. Let's start with Beckenbauer greatness, and looking at his career, I think it's quite easy to understand why we are talking about an amazing player. 2 times Ballon d'Or, keep one thing in mind, Beckenbauer was a defender, 1 time World Cup with Germany, also 1 Euro Cup, 3 times Champions League with Bayern Munich, and 5 times Bundesliga and more. My opinion about Beckenbauer, I guess at this point you already know, but GOAT level type of player. When we say GOAT, I understand this is very relative, and maybe for you GOAT is Pelé and Messi or Ronaldo, Maradona. I understand even the GOAT discussion gets very complicated. But looking at his position, looking at the impact he ended up having at certain time in the soccer world, I think Beckenbauer is also GOAT level type of player. I also understand he's not in the same level, at least in terms of collectability, as a Pelé, as a Messi, but he's probably a tier below, and I think it makes sense to be that way. He's a player that appears in most of the 10 best players ever lists, so if you find a list without Beckenbauer in the top 10, let's say even top 20, I don't think that list makes any sense, to be fair, because his career is completely insane. He's without a doubt one of the best players the world ever saw. Arguably the best German player and arguably the best defender ever. Key player in the vintage market and also in the entire soccer card market. Now let's move on to the rookie material, and I believe this is the part you guys like the most. So rookie material starts at 65 and there is a lot of amazing cards for him in this year. This is just part 1, there is another slide with more rookies for him, but the ones you are seeing on the screen I actually believe tend to be the most common ones and the ones that the market chases the most, since the availability is also stronger. The first one is probably the most popular one, Bergman 65. Just one small detail on this card, there is a second year card with the same picture, basically in this case instead of 65, 66, but you can tell the difference quite easy. Just take a look at the back, and on this one says 65/66, so very easy to see this is from the correct season. Now let's talk about the 65 Sikkerverlag Football. This is a very popular rookie for Beckenbauer. I also think in terms of rarity is an easy one to find. Without back damage tends to be quite difficult. By the way, apply the same logic for the first one, but I will talk about pop reports also in a second. I don't like this card as much as the others you are seeing on the screen for one simple reason. Remembers me a stamp, and I do not like that, even though there is a market for this card. Moving on to the third one, and this is an important note right now. So all of the 3 cards you are seeing on the screen, they are from the same set, Tausend Tolle Tore. We call this TTT Sikkerverlag. Very popular cards in the hobby, especially the headshot, the portrait you are seeing on the screen, tends to be the most desirable one, and I think looking at the screen you also understand why. It's a beautiful, beautiful sticker. The green on the back is amazing. It's probably my favorite rookie for Beckenbauer. This one, in terms of availability, seems a bit more difficult to find than the other 2 that you are seeing on the screen, but is the same rarity as the action shots. Now let's talk about the action shots. As you can see, they are also beautiful cards. This one, the first one you are seeing on the screen, I think is debatable if this should be a rookie or not. The reason I'm saying is debatable is there is a lot of players on the screen. PSA puts all of the initial for the players, but they also put FB, Franz Beckenbauer. This one I like it a bit more because it's Beckenbauer shooting the ball, and this is actually the first appearance on the set for Beckenbauer. Some people may think it's the portrait, but it's actually this action shot. Because of that, I like it a bit more. Now let's take a look at the albums for the releases you are seeing on the screen. Like I said, all of these 3 cards are from one specific album, and let's start with that. Tausend Tole Tore, beautiful cards like I was explaining, and in terms of lineage, I like all of them. Just the eye appealing of the football Sticker Verlag on the middle is the only thing that makes me stay away. In terms of lineage, like I was explaining, all of them are quite great. You can also see the album for the Bergman 65-66. All of these albums are not that difficult to find from what I've been researching on eBay, especially by Germany. But again, we are in a discovery phase. I will also talk about that more in the last part of the video. Now let's take a look at Pop Reports. As you can see, the first card is the one that the Pop Report is the highest, and makes sense. Is also the most popular rookie for Beckenbauer. If you ask most collectors what's the main rookie, what's the most popular rookie, and this goes because of availability again. But I suspect most collectors will answer with the 65 Bergman. PSA total 125. The top grade is a PSA 9, and there is 2 copies on that grade. One note that is actually a very important one. This card tends to be difficult to find without back damage. Another note, there is a couple of copies graded by SCC, by PSA, about PVG I'm not sure, but at least about PSA and SCC that are overgraded, since you can see clear back damage on the back. So it is what it is. Pay attention to that in general, and I think most collectors would agree with me, even though still do your own research on this front. This card without damage on the back tends to be difficult. Most of the time they have paper loss or glue. Moving on to the second one, similar logic. Without back damage on the back tends to be difficult to find. There is a couple that are also overgraded, since the grader end up missing paper loss or glue. This may sound crazy since we trust so much in the grading companies, but it is what it is. PSA total is 60 and top grade is a PSA 8. There is 3 copies on that grade. Moving on to the TTT, now we have, as you can see, a more difficult card to find, 36 copies, even though, again, repeating myself, we are still in a discovery phase. Be careful with that. The top grade for this card, and I was quite shocked by the way, is actually a PSA 9. There is 1 copy. Small detail about this one, this copy that you are seeing on the screen is actually mine. As you can see, got a MC, so this means miscut. Sometimes they get the MC, other times they don't get the MC, but the reason is you can see the start of a new sticker below, but this is quite often even in the ones that don't get the miscut. I was actually very surprised by a PSA 9. This seems a tremendous difficult sticker to grade, and without damage on the back also seems quite difficult to find. I guess in vintage you can apply this logic. Back damage on the back tends to be what makes the condition rarity most of the time. Moving on to the next TTT cards, you can see this one is less graded. The reason is basically what I was explaining a couple of minutes ago. I don't think this is a clear Beckenbauer rookie, even though he's 65 and Beckenbauer appears on the card, but is not exactly what most collectors like. The other one, 23 copies, PSA 9, 1 copy. Like I explained, the rarity should be similar to all 3. This one is graded a bit more since collectors love the picture, and like I said, is, for example, for me, but again, this is very relative, but is my favorite rookie for Beckenbauer. Now let's move on to more rookie material and also amazing cards. Let's start with this. The ones you are seeing on the screen now, I want to say thanks to El Rey Collection, Al, good friend of the channel. My last podcast was actually with him. I also invite you to check my Talking Cards podcast on this YouTube channel, and those cards are extremely difficult to find from what I know, from what I talk with other collectors. For example, Al El Rey collection, great follow on YouTube and great follow on Instagram. The name of these cards are Grot Gold. Maybe I'm not pronouncing this that well, but since I don't even speak English perfect, you also should not expect me pronouncing things that I don't even know the language for sure. I suspect it's German. But you can see an interesting fact about this one is both cards are from Al El Rey collection again, but you can see that there is a small release and there is a larger one. Looking at pop reports, and let's actually talk about them, you can see that the small, even though again everything seems quite difficult on these two cards, but the small one is pop 3, SEC 3.5. The one you are seeing on the screen actually is the top grade. In the other end, the Grot Gold larger version, the top grade is a SEC 2.5 and this is just pop 1, so extremely difficult card to find. The back I also think is a cool one, explains probably, I'm not translating this right now, but I suspect it tells a bit of the history of Beckenbauer with Bayern Munich. Those cards are nice alternatives. I don't know a lot about them to be honest. I was talking with other collectors and for some reason they don't have great following, but those are the Faber Die Bundesliga, and as you can see, almost similar logic to the other TTT card that I was talking about. Appears different players, so is this a true rookie? A true rookie in the sense that if you just want Beckenbauer on the photo, I'm sorry, maybe this is not for you. You can see in terms of rarity they seem quite scarce. PSA also grades them, but the pop report is actually higher on SEC, and the SEC total for this one, the 221 is 4, the top grade is a 5. For the other one, SEC total is 3 and the top grade is a 4.5. All of them seem amazing cards. I suspect if you like true rarity, this is the grail card for you. I mean, look at the pop reports. They seem really difficult to find. Before we move to second year cards, I actually want to talk about this one. So, as you can see, PSA grades this, first of all, different ways. Monty Gam and Perfect Candy. From what I know, and by the way, this type of videos, they also try to bring some critical thinking to the market. So if you know, if you have any extra information on these stickers, please put on the comments, because people tend to look at that. From what I know and looking at... talking also with other collectors, the general consensus tends to be those cards are 67 and the market already prices that in my perspective. They are beautiful cards, by the way. I think there is just one version, but PSA also grades 55 Monty Gam and also Perfect Candy, but I believe the correct way is Perfect Candy, but should be 67. That's it, basically. Do I like them? Yes. Do I consider them rookies? Well, talking with other collectors, the general consensus is no, so I'm going with that. And this is a good example that you need to be careful. In terms of rarity, they seem difficult to find, but not comparable with the gold ones, these ones, the Grot Gold. So let's keep moving. Top sales. So I will share with you 4 different cards and not the exact top 4 ever for Beckenbauer. This way I think makes more sense and gives you a better perspective about the rookie market for Beckenbauer. And in the position number 4 we have the Seeker Verlag Fußball. This card, a PSA 8, sold for 5k. Impressive sale if you ask me, because I also believe my feeling about this card in particular is shared with other collectors, is the rookie that people tend to like the least, even though this type of stuff is very debatable, as you can imagine. The next one is the Seeker Verlag TTT, 17k for a PSA 6. I believe this was in Goldin. This sale was bananas, excuse my expression, because recently this card I've been selling for less, even though I think is an amazing sticker. The next one is a PSA 9 Seeker Verlag The Action Shot. This is pop 1, 24 Quite impressive. Actually, let's go back, and I know I should do this before, but I want to check one thing. So the top grade on this is a PSA 8, so it was the top grade. On this one is a PSA 9, like I was saying, so pop 1, and for this is a PSA 9 that never appeared on the market, at least as far I'm aware. Let's keep moving. I'm sorry for that, but I think it was important to check. So as you can see, this is the top. Those are the first three of the top 4, but in the position number 1, I guess you could imagine, is of course the top grade for the 65 Bergman. This card sold in PWCC for 81k. Now let's take a look at second year, and let me say one thing. Rookies sell for quite more than second year. If you are in a budget, second year may be a nice option for you. And let's start with this. And there is a lot of cars in the second year, in this case 66. I'm not sharing with you all of them. If you want to do that research by yourself, feel free to do it. I'm putting the ones that I think are more relevant to the market, even though this can be debatable. Those are just my choices. And let's start with the first one that you can see. Wait, that is a rookie. No, it's not a rookie. Like I explained, you can see that in the back this says 67/66/67, so second year. And thank God this is the case, because at least this way we can actually tell in a very, very easy way the difference between a first year card and a second year card. It's a beautiful card again, sells for quite less than the rookie, as you can imagine. When the market was exploding, I saw a couple of these cards selling for a lot. I suspect some people did not even know the difference between not the real ones, but the real rookie versus the second year. But it is what it is. When the market is in a mania, there is a lot of people making them decisions, and that was one of them. Other cards that I like quite a lot is the Bergman 65 Automat Builder. Not sure if I'm pronouncing this well, but they are beautiful cards. This card, Beckenbauer with the yellow ball, is one of my favorites. The back is a very simple back, basically says Franz Beckenbauer, Bayern Munich. Apart from that, is a white back. In terms of condition rarity, they have less, in my opinion. They tend to appear in good condition, and the reason for that was the distribution that was made by vending machines. So these cards had no album. Because of that, they end up not getting glue on the back, and also because of the glue, getting paper loss. Now, moving on, we have the first two Panini stickers. This is Euro Calcio, Panini Calciatore. In terms of lineage, I love this sticker, the yellow with the yellow borders. We also have the Campione delle Sport. Now let's talk about rarity for them. I think they are similar, even though with Panini there is different backs, different variations that could be actually really, really tricky to find. That's the type of research you need to do yourself, otherwise this will be a video alone, but those are the first Panini stickers. The last one is the continuation of the Sticker Verlag. I think it's a beautiful sticker, remembers me the TTT green, but with a blue background, and I think it's a beautiful sticker. Also looks amazing on the SCC slab. Let's take a look at the distribution for them and important factors. So this is the album for the 66. Basically, in terms of lineage, is the continuation of the original Bergman set. This one is a bit different. That's why I was explaining that they tend to appear in better condition than, for example, this one or even the original rookie, since there was no album attached to these cards as far I'm aware, so the back tends to be clean. And again, repeating myself on this one, but those are the first Panini stickers. If you believe that could be a narrative in the future, maybe this is something you want to pay attention. Looking at pop reports, this one is PSA total is 22, the top grade is a PSA 8, again, is less grade than the rookie for logic reasons. Now the vending machine cards, they are quite similar, a bit over 100 copies, and both the top grade is a PSA 9. For the Sticker Verlag, the PSA total is 17 and the top grade is a PSA 8. Again, I also don't think people are grading this card in a massive way, but again, is a beautiful card / sticker. The Panini stickers, as you can see, my feeling about the yellow being a bit more common, I also think the pop shows that. So PSA total is 32, top grade PSA 9, the white Panini sticker, PSA total 23, top grade PSA 9. Now, my final thoughts about second year. I think all of them are quite amazing. So, for example, I really like these vending machine cards in terms of eye appealing. I have a couple of them. I also have the Panini stickers. You don't need to pay a lot of money for them unless you are targeting the top grade. In general, they will be quite cheap, and you are still collecting an amazing player and very early cards. Of course, Beckenbauer is not just about rookies and second-year cards, or even mainly about rookies. The reality is there is a lot of amazing options, and I decided to share 5 different options with you. But again, there is a lot. I thought those made sense. Flawless and Eminence, 2 sets that are very popular in the modern market. We look at them like the high-end product we have in soccer. The reason is they have on-card autos, the paper quality also tends to be amazing photos, and they go for, I would say, a lot of money, even though this is relative, of course. They target a specific niche of collectors in the market that really like this high-end stuff. And let's start with that. So this is high-end. The next one is the Panini Mexico 70 sticker. This is a set that is super popular in vintage, and for good reason. Again, why? This is the first Panini World Cup album, and we all know the Panini history with the albums is huge. Because of that, this is a very important sticker for Franz Beckenbauer. I also like the photo for him. The next is the first Panini Prism. I guess I should not even say this, but of course, Flawless, Eminence, and in this case Prism, Beckenbauer was already retired. I suspect you guys all know this, right? Winky wink, I hope so. But again, first Prism, I don't think is a super crazy narrative, but the 2014 Panini Prism World Cup is a very important set, and the cards are also quite nice, quite beautiful, a historical set in modern, so I suspect some people may want to collect the Beckenbauer card there. And I'm putting this card, but this is just a random example, and I'm choosing the 74 Montigam Franz Beckenbauer World Cup 74. The reason is Germany ended up winning the World Cup, and Beckenbauer was one of the key players. But again, this is just this is more me trying to share with you a potential narrative than saying this is the card you should target in 74, because I have no idea if that's true or not. I like it, but that's about it. Now, to finish my thoughts on Beckenbauer. Look, I will repeat myself one more time. Beckenbauer is one of the best players ever, potentially top 10 player ever, and in terms of greatness, you cannot go wrong with him. That being said, do I think Beckenbauer is a good buy? I don't know. I think that's quite more debatable, but I should apply this logic to the entire soccer card market. Why? We are still in a discovery phase. Look at the Bergman card and look at the Secret Verlag sticker in this case. You can see that the pop reports since 2021 have been going up. And look, shocking news to all of you guys. Pop reports 99% of the time they just go up. If they go down, something really bad ends up happening in that player's market. But as you can see, the graph is very steady, and this is not the type of graph you want to see as an investor. Of course, if you put time in the market and if you believe, you know what, I believe this is a nice entry point. I think people are actually over reacting to the potential rarity or not of this card. And if you do that research, if you put time in the market, and I talk a lot about that, right? Time in the market versus time in the market, you probably can play on the Beckenbauer market and do well. But I also think you need to be careful, because we are in a discovery phase. So look at this graph and now compare with markets that are quite more stable. This is the Black Lotus Unlimited, but I could use the Beta or the Alpha, will be the same thing. Yes, the pop have been increasing, but nothing that special. You can tell me, Andre, but the reality is, if those cards is 24 copies in 2021, of course, in terms of graph, because this shows more a percentage than anything else, you will see a huge spike, and that's true. That being said, you still need to be careful. Of course, will find stabilization. I'm not sure if it will be this year, if it will be in the next 5. I cannot predict that. Supply in a lot of stuff have been surprising me in a positive way and also in a negative way. I don't want to tell you if Beckenbauer surprised me in a positive way or in a negative way, because I frankly do not know. I have a couple of Beckenbauer cards because I'm kind of playing the long run with him. But that being said, try to be careful. This graph, they tell a lot, right? Have a nice day, guys. Leave a like and see you guys next time. Bye.